Students, we have seen how the internal processes take place in the earth. Now, let us have a look at the external processes. The external elements like air and water work rigorously that result in wearing away of the surfaces. The constructive and destructive energies of the air and water result in the diversity of present landforms. While these external processes wear away from the surface of the rocks and mountains, they also transport and deposit the worn out materials in lowlands and basins.
The process of wearing out and the deposition of materials is what create the level in the surfaces.
Students, we have learnt about first order landforms and second order landforms. Now, let us look at the third order landforms.
The shaping of the landforms by wind and water are called third order landforms. In addition, the carved mountains, valleys, sand dunes and deltas are a part of the third order landforms. The various processes like weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition result in the formation of such kinds of landforms, which is also called denudation process.
Students, the process of denudation is continuous and it keeps on happening. The lowlands that are present today were mountains and plateaus once upon a time. It is the denudation that brings in transformation in the landforms, which happens at a very slow pace. Students, the shape and structure of the mountains, plateaus and plains keep changing through a process which is known as erosion cycle or geomorphic cycle. Students, how do the air and water transform the surface of the earth? Let us see how.
Over millions of years, these rocks have been shaped into plains, valleys with loose soils, river valleys that cut mountains, plateaus and so on.
Well, how do you think all this happened?
The hard primary rocks get broken into smaller pieces which are cut off from the parent rock and carried to other places. These smaller rocks get deposited there.
Let us look in detail about this process which is called weathering. The gradual disintegration of rocks through actions of atmosphere or weather is called weathering. As you all know, the rocks expand when exposed to heat and contract when they are cooled. This expansion and contraction is a regular process which happens during the day and night throughout summers and winters.
As the rocks expand and contract, the rocks tend to become brittle and hence begin to crack. The water and the moisture in the air facilitate this process further. The water undergoes a reaction with the chemicals in the rocks and weakens the rocks. The process by which the rocks are weakened and broken down is called weathering.
The next stage in the process is erosion. Students, all of you must have heard about erosion. Soil erosion, for example, isn't it?
The flowing water or wind have a lot of energy, which erodes or cuts away the rocks or soil covers in places at higher altitudes. The active wearing away of the Earth's surface by various agents like wind and water is called erosion. The active wearing away of the Earth's surface by various agents like wind and water is called erosion.
As we all know, water assumes many forms like rain, river, flowing groundwater, sea waves, glaciers, etc. The eroded materials like small rocks, gravel, fine soil, mud, etc. are carried by winds and water.
The process of carrying off the eroded materials is called transportation. The rivers and winds cut soils and rocks in place and transport them to different and distant places.
The next stage, students, is deposition.
As the rivers and winds slow down, there exists no force to carry the materials further. As a result, they get dumped at certain places. The dumped debris facilitates for the formation of plains and river basins.
Many a times, most of the materials are transported by the rivers to the seas.
The materials get deposited layer after and get accumulated at the bottom of the sea. Over a period of time, these layers transform as sedimentary rocks. The swift flow of the river transforms into water with high pressure as it falls down across the slopes.
Students, these four stages, the weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition, are a continuous process that take place simultaneously in various parts of the world at varied rates. The nature of the slope, the structure of the rocks, the local climate, interference of human beings, etc. are some of the factors that influence the rate at which these stages take place.